ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादे पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। All glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Lord Chaitanya, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya.
So here we were in the chapter about ecstatic dancing of Lord at Ratha-yātrā. Look at that beautiful, amazing painting where practically everybody is in deep ecstasy. So this is what happens during Ratha-yātrā time. Chaitanya Mahāprabhu personally leads all his followers for the Ratha-yātrā. And today we will be discussing the section where Lord Chaitanya recites verses in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So we have already completed till verse number 132 and we will begin from there.
Se bhavaveše Prabhu pade ar shloka, se sab shlokir artha nahi bujhe loka. In that ecstatic mood, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited many other verses, but people in general could not understand their meaning. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing, he was singing, and he was reciting verses in the mood of Srimati Radharani, and he was, as Srimati Radharani, she was addressing Jagannath as Lord Krishna, who was visiting Kurukshetra. So this conversation was going on.
Swarup Gosai jane na kahe arth tara, Shri Rupa Gosai kaila se arth prachara. The meaning of those verses were known to Swarup Damodar Goswami, but he did not reveal it. However, Sri Rupa Goswami has broadcast the meaning. So whatever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was reciting and in what mood he was, nobody could understand. So nobody could actually understand why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was reciting those verses and what is the hidden meaning of those verses. But for Swarup Damodar Goswami. And here for the first time, Rupa Goswami was hearing these verses, and Rupa Goswami, because he was empowered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he could also understand. And that is why when we do the pranam mantra of Rupa Goswami, we say, Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam. So he understands the Manobhishtam, the deep desires and whatever Mahaprabhu is telling, he understands that. So that is why we see that Rupa Goswami could understand that, and we will see how he broadcasts the meaning for everyone to understand. Swarup sange yara artha kare aswadana, nritya madhya se shloka kare na pathana.
While dancing, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to recite the following verse, which he tasted in the association of Swarup Damodar Goswami. The gopis spoke thus, Dear Lord, whose navel is just like a lotus flower, your lotus feet are the only shelter for those who have fallen into the deep well of material existence. Your feet are worshipped and meditated upon by great mystic yogis and highly learned philosophers. We wish that these lotus feet may also be awakened within our hearts, although we are only ordinary persons engaged in household affairs. So this verse is from the 10th canto, 82nd chapter, 48th verse. And this verse shows, one, that the gopis are glorifying the Lord, that your navel is just like the lotus flower, and your lotus feet are the shelter for whom? For the souls who have fallen into the deep, dark well of this material world. So they have actually no shelter. They are going from one birth and death to another birth, another death, and there is no respite from the problems of this material world. So where do they take shelter? They take shelter at your lotus feet. And here it's mentioned that your lotus feet are worshipped and meditated by whom? By the great Ashtang yogis, by great mystic yogis, and by Gyanis, highly learned philosophers. So it is meditated upon them. But gopis are not interested either in Ashtang yoga, or they are not interested in Gyan yoga. What they are interested in is simple, pure devotional service. So they are praying that we wish that these lotus feet, who are the shelter of the entire universe, be manifested within our heart. Because we are ordinary women engaged in household affairs, we can neither do Ashtang yoga, neither we can do Gyan yoga, we can only do some simple devotional service to you. So actually this is a great humility of the gopis. We understand, when we analyze the different personalities on the transcendental path, we understand that Bhakti yoga and Bhakti yogis are actually on the highest rung, and they are the most advanced. And among them, we see different grades of devotees. And among those different grades of devotees, we see that the gopis are the best or the highest, or devotees who have the most intense affection for the Supreme Lord. So we also understand that those highest devotees have also highest humility in them. So this is also an expression of great humility of the gopis.
Anyera hrudaya mana mora mana vrindavana mane vane eka kari jani taha tomar pada dvaya karaha yadi udaya tabe tomar purna kripa mani. Speaking in the mood of Srimati Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, for most people, the mind and heart are one. But because my mind is never separated from Vrindavan, I consider my mind and Vrindavan to be one. My mind is already Vrindavan, and since you like Vrindavan, will you please place your lotus feet there? I would deem that your full mercy. So now we know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, who's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. So he is a combined incarnation of Supreme Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani. He is Krishna in the mood and in the complexion of Srimati Radharani. So here in this verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has gone deep into that mood of Srimati Radharani, and he's speaking this verse and he's claiming that my mind is Vrindavan. And he's saying, my mind is Vrindavan, and oh Krishna, oh Jagannath. So Radharani is here addressing Jagannath, and Radharani is seeing Krishna, and she is telling that since you like Vrindavan, and my mind is like Vrindavan, so will you please place your lotus feet, or will you please get into my mind? So mind and heart are one, and her mind is Vrindavan. So actually she is inviting Krishna to reside within. So what is the purpose of mind? So the mind activities, mind thinks, mind feels, mind wills, thinking, feeling, willing. This is what is described. So now with that mind, if Krishna resides there, if Krishna has complete control on that mind, then automatically everything becomes spiritual, and all the things which are unfavorable for our devotional life, we would automatically reject. And Srimati Radharani is an epitome of that, because all she remembers is Krishna only. Prananath Shona Mora Satya Nivedana Vraja Amar Sadan Taha Tomara Sangama Na paile na rahe jivana.
My dear Lord, kindly hear my true submission. My home is Vrindavan, and I wish your association there. But if I do not get it, then it will be very difficult for me to keep my life. So these are the innermost feelings of Srimati Radharani when she sees Krishna at Kurukshetra. Now Krishna is there, the gopis are there, and the full moon night is there. But then she is not able to relish that association of the Lord. And she is saying that this is my true feelings and true request, Satya Nivedana. What? That my home is Vrindavan, and I wish to take your association in Vrindavan. But if you do not come, then it will be very difficult for me to be alive.
My dear Krishna, formerly when you were staying in Mathura, you sent Uddhav to teach me speculative knowledge and mystic yoga. Now you yourself are speaking the same thing. But my mind doesn't accept it. There is no place in my mind for Gyan Yoga or Dhyan Yoga. Although you know me very well, you are still instructing me in Gyan Yoga and Dhyan Yoga. It is not right for you to do so. So here when Krishna is telling Srimati Radharani, so Radharani is reminding Krishna that please don't do this word jugglery with me. Don't tell me to perceive you as Paramatma, or don't talk to me about the principles of Gyan or Dhyan Yoga. I am your devotee and a soul surrendered unto you, and I want to unite with you in Bhakti Yoga. So that is what Srimati Radharani is saying. And before we begin, before we continue any further in this matter, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who's actually the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada. So he once said that if all the scriptures would vanish from this planet, but only if Chaitanya Charitamrta remains, then we can actually revive all the scriptures. So what we are reading now, what we are experiencing now through these sound vibration, it is extraordinary. In most of these scriptures, you would not find how Srimati Radharani is feeling or how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the form of Srimati Radharani is feeling. In fact, if we read Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, we do not even find the name of Radharani. And here is a detailed description of how she is feeling, what she is going through. So the point is that this is Guhyatamam, this is topmost confidential things which we are reading, and we need to have a certain degree of purity and surrender just to give oral reception to that. So please be properly situated and try to understand these verses, and please our heart should be simmering with gratitude when we are reading these verses, because we are such chosen fortunate ones who can actually read what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was feeling when he saw Jagannath and what Radharani was experiencing when she would see Krishna in Kurukshetra.
Chitta kadi toma hoite vishaya chahila gaite yatna kari nari kadi bare tare dhyana shiksha kara lokahasana mara sthana sthana nakara vichare. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued in the mood of Srimati Radharani, I would like to withdraw my consciousness from you and engage it in material activities, but even though I try, I cannot do so. I am naturally inclined to you only. Your instructions for me to meditate on you are therefore simply ludicrous. In this way, you are killing me. It is not very good for you to think of me as a candidate for your instructions. So here, Krishna is instructing Srimati Radharani, you meditate like Ashtang Yogi, or you become a Jnani. And what is Srimati Radharani saying? What they have to practice. They have to practice trying to meditate on you. But my mind is naturally inclined to you. It is already drawing to you. And even if I am engaged in some other activity, I am already constantly thinking of you only. So therefore, your instructions are ludicrous, or they're incompatible. So in this way, you're trying to kill me. So it is not very, I'm not the right candidate for you to give me such instructions.
Nahe gopi yogeshwara pada kamala tomara dhyana kari pai be santosha.
Tomara vakya pratipati tara madhya koti nati shuni gopiraro bade rosha.
The gopis are not like mystic yogis. They will never be satisfied simply by meditating on your lotus feet and imitating the so-called yogis. Teaching the gopis about meditation is another kind of duplicity. When they are instructed to undergo mystic yoga process, they are not at all satisfied. On the contrary, they become more and more angry with you. So now here Radharani is, in the previous verse she explains her condition, and in this verse she is getting little angry. She's saying, what are you teaching us? You are asking us to become like mystic yogi and meditate on you. But we don't have to sit in particular asanas and meditate on you, because whatever activity we are doing, wherever we are, all what we do is constantly meditating on you. We don't need to go to a sacred place, or we don't have to sit in a particular position or posture and then force ourselves, control our mind and meditate on you. That is our natural position. So why are you giving us these useless instructions, Krishna? Why are you telling us to meditate? This is another kind of duplicity.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, the gopis have fallen into the great ocean of separation and are being devoured by the Timingla fish of their ambition to serve you. So this is the position of the gopis. Krishna has left Vrindavan and the gopis are experiencing great pain in being separated from the Lord and in being separated from the service to the Lord. And therefore they have this great desire. I mean, the whole purpose why they were living was to serve the Lord. Now, Lord is not there. What do they do with their lives? So that ambition has become like a huge fish which is devouring them, which is eating them. The gopis are to be delivered from the mouths of these Timangla fish, for they are pure devotees. Since they have no material conception of life, why should they aspire for liberation? The gopis do not want that liberation desired by yogis and jnanis, for they are already liberated from the ocean of material existence. So here Srimati Radharani is not just she is not just expressing some emotion, she is speaking such profound philosophy. The scriptures, scripturally accurate explanation Srimati Radharani is giving. What she is saying is that one, these gopis, they are pure devotees. They have nothing, they have no other goal in life other than to serve you. That is actually devouring them because they have no opportunity to serve you because you are not there. And it is and you should be delivering them from this, which means you should present yourself so that they can render service to you. And you're talking about yogis or jnanis, so they are looking for liberation, but gopis are not looking for liberation, they're already liberated. They have no material conception. So why you are proposing some process for attaining liberation? They're already a liberated platform.
Vrindavana Govardhana Yamuna Pulina Vana Se Kunje Rasa Dekha Leela Se Vraja Jana Mata Pita Bandhu Gana Bada Chitra Ke Mane Pasarila. It is amazing that you have forgotten the land of Vrindavan. And how is that you have forgotten your father, mother and friends? How have you forgotten Govardhan Hill, the bank of the Yamuna and the forest where you enjoyed the Ras Lila dance? So Srimati Radharani is looking at Krishna, and now Krishna is standing in front of Radharani as a king in his chariot with hundreds and thousands of people around him. And Srimati Radharani is seeing this completely different form of Krishna who's neither having flute nor he's having peacock feather, and he's giving instruction to Radharani. What instruction? Meditate upon me. So Radharani is telling, how can you forget everything? So it's just like a lover who's reminding her lover that how can you forget those beautiful times which we had together in Vrindavan? How can you forget Govardhan and Yamuna and that Ras Leela dance? And forget about us. You have forgotten your parents also. So that is how Radharani is telling Krishna.
Vidagdha mridu sadaguna sushila snigdha karuna tumi tomar nahi dosha bhasa tabe ye tomara mana nahi smare vraja jana Se amara durdaiva vilasa. Krishna, you are certainly a refined gentleman with all good qualities. You are well behaved, soft hearted, and merciful. I know that there is not even a tinge of fault to be found in you. Yet your mind does not even remember the inhabitants of Vrindavan. This is only my misfortune and nothing else. So here Srimati Radharani is saying that actually it is not your mistake. You are a very, very fine person. You have all the good qualities. You are Sushil, you are Snigdha, you have Karuna, you are merciful. So it is not your dosh or it is not your fault. But you are not able to remember Vrindavan. It is actually our fault. It is actually my misfortune. Nagani apana dukha dekhi Vrajeshwari mukha Vraja janir hridaya vidare Kiba mara vrajavasi Kiba jiya vrajayasi Kena jiya dukha sahai bare.
I do not care for my personal unhappiness, but I see the morose face of Mother Yashoda and the hearts of all the inhabitants of Vrindavan breaking because of you. I wonder whether you want to kill them all, or do you want to enliven them by coming there? Why are you simply keeping them alive in a state of suffering? So Srimati Radharani, she's telling Krishna, like in the previous verse, we heard that she's telling Krishna that you are all good. But then what she's also telling is that she is missing that naughty Krishna. She is not happy with this Krishna who is all good, whose heart is all good, and there is no tinge of problem with him. But then what happened to that Krishna who would tease them, who would break their pots and who would steal their clothes? What happened to that Krishna? Because that is the Krishna whom I miss so much. And now here also she's hiding her feelings and she's saying, forget it. Don't worry. I understand that you don't worry about me or you don't care about me. I also don't care about my unhappiness. But I'm appealing to you on behalf of the residents of Vrindavan and especially Mother Yashoda. So, do you not care about them also? Will you not come there to enliven them? Will you leave them also in this state of suffering and misery?
And they are not dying. Actually, they don't want to live in the state of separation from you. So they are not, and because you have given a promise that you will come back, so they are not dying and they are not able to live. So neither they are living nor they are dying. So that's why she's asking this question. Why are you simply keeping them alive in this state of suffering? So they're suffering in separation.
Tomar ye anya vesha, anya sanga, anya desha, vraja jane kabu nahi bhaya. व्रज भूमि छाड़ित नारे तो मना देखिले मारे व्रज जन की हबे उपाया.
The inhabitants of Vrindavan do not want you dressed like a prince, nor do they want you to associate with great warriors in a different country. तुम्हारा ये अन्य वेश, अरे you are like a big prince with all the mukut and the jewels and the armlets and so many necklaces and this gorgeous dress. So the Vrajvasis, they are not actually looking, they don't want you to be dressed like this. You are like a simple cowherd boy with the dust of Vraj decorating you. And neither do they want you to associate Anya Sangha, Anya Desha. Not they want you to associate with the kings and the warriors of the country. They cannot leave the land of Vrindavan. Vrajabhumi Chade Nare. So they cannot go away from Vrindavan. And without your presence, they are all dying. What is their condition to be?
Tumi vraje rajivana, vraje raje pranadhana. Tumi vraje sakala sampada. Kripadra tomara mana, asi jiya vraj jana. Vraje uday karao nij pada. My dear Krishna, you are the life and soul of Vrindavan Dham. You are specially the life of Nanda Maharaj. You are the only opulence in the land of Vrindavan and you are very merciful. Please come and let all the residents of Vrindavan live. Kindly keep your lotus feet again in Vrindavan. So here Srimati Radharani is declaring that you are the life and soul of Vrindavan Dham. Now if we read other scriptures, it is mentioned that before Krishna left Vrindavan, there was this constant tug of war between Krishna and Srimati Radharani, or between Krishna's companions and Radharani's friends. And they would constantly argue and say that Srimati Radharani is the ruler of Vrindavan, and the boys would say that no, it is Krishna. And Krishna would say, this is my land and you should pay tax to me. And Srimati Radharani would claim that this is her land. But here, that same Radharani has taken that humble position and she is just, all she wants is Krishna to be back. So she's telling, you are the soul of Vrindavan, you are the life of Vrindavan, you are the Vraja Rajera Pranadhan, the Raja of Vrindavan, which is Nanda Maharaj. You are his life and soul also. So please come back to Vrindavan. Shuniya Radhika Vani Vraja Prema Mane Ani
भावे व्याकुलित देहमाना व्रजलोकेर प्रेमशूनी आपना के रेणी मानी करे कृष्ण तांरे आश्वादाना. After hearing Srimati Radharani's statements, Lord Krishna's love for the inhabitants of Vrindavan was evoked. So like we hear Bhagavad Gita, like we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, and when we chant the holy names, and when we hear from realized souls and great devotees, then what happens is our love and affection for the Lord awakens. Similarly here, Lord Krishna has heard the glories of Vraj Dham, glories of Vraj Bhaktas, devotees, the love and affection that they have for him, and that has awakened in him. And his body and mind became very much perturbed. Bhave Vyakulita Deha Man. And then with those memories arising and hearing all of this, his mind and his body, they all became very perturbed. After hearing of their love for him, he immediately thought himself to be always indebted to the residents of Vrindavan. The first emotion that arises in Lord Krishna's heart is of indebtedness, is that of gratitude, that what love these devotees have for me. Then Krishna began to pacify Srimati Radharani as follows.
Prana Priyeshu Namora e Satya Vachana Toma Sabar Smarane Ho Muni Ratri Dine Mora Dukha Na Jane Konjana. My dearest Srimati Radharani, please hear me. I am speaking the truth. I cry day and night simply upon remembering all you inhabitants of Vrindavan. No one knows how unhappy this makes me. So Krishna is sharing his heart and he's telling that don't think that I am away from you and I am happy here. Day and night I think of all the Vrajvasis and I cry because I miss them so much.
Vrajavasi yata jana mata pita sakha gana sabe haya mora prana sama tanra madhye gopi gana sakshat mora jivana tumi mora jivanera jiva. Vrajavasi yata jana mata pita sakhi gana sapa Sabe haya mora prana sama. So Krishna is saying that all of them are me. They are my life and soul. All the inhabitants of Vrindavan Dham, my father, my mother, cowherd boyfriends, and everyone else are like my life and soul. Prana sam. And among all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, the gopis are my very life and soul. And among the gopis, you, Srimati Radharani, are the chief. Therefore, you are the very life of my life. Toma sabar prema rase amake karila vashe ami tomar adhina kevala Toma sabar chhadana amadura deshe lana rakhiyache durdaiva prabhala.
तोमा सबा प्रेम रसा आमा के कौरीला वशा मेरे को वश में कर लिया. Your love, your loving affairs. So I am always subservient to your loving affairs. And Ami Tomar Adhina Keval. I am under your control only. So you people are the one who control me. How you are controlling me? Because of your love. Because of your loving affairs. Because of your love, you have made me completely under your control. Then Krishna, why are you not coming back? So he's saying, my separation from you and resident in distant places have occurred due to my strong misfortune. So Krishna is telling that his fortune, he is unfortunate and the providence, the destiny has separated him from Vrajvasis. Otherwise, he's completely under the control of Vrajvasis.
So if you look at these verses, it so profoundly in Krishna's own words, there's so much profound glorification of the Vrajvasis, and from this we can understand that no other devotee comes close to the position of the Vrajvasis. Priya Priya Sangahina, Priya Priya Sangavena, Nahi jiye Satya Pramana. Mora dasha sone yabe, tanra ei dasha habe, ei bhai duhi rakhe prana. When a woman is separated from the man she loves, or a man is separated from his beloved woman, neither of them can live. It is a fact that they live only for each other. For if one dies and the other hears of it, he or she will die also. So Krishna is giving an example, or he's explaining this principle that when the two lovers or the beloveds are separated from each other, neither of them or both of them find it very, very difficult to live. They cannot live without each other. And if they hear of one's death, then the other person also leaves the body. Se sati premavati premavana se pati viyoge ye vanche priyahite na gane apana dukha vanche priya jana sukha se dui mile achirate.
Such a loving, chaste wife and loving husband desire all welfare for each other in separation and do not care for personal happiness. Desiring only each other's well-being, such a pair certainly meet again without delay. So now Krishna is sort of pacifying Srimati Radharani, so he's moving in that direction. So he's giving a hope. What hope is that? Such a pair certainly meet again without delay. So he's saying that by providence, it's my misfortune that we have been separated, but because of our love for each other, all we are thinking about each other, and we are not caring about our own personal happiness. So in this situation, certainly we will meet soon again without delay. Rakhite tomara jivan seviyami narayana tanra shakti asi niti niti tomasane krida kari niti ai adupuri taha tumi mana amor spurti.
You are my most dear, and I know that in my absence you cannot live for a moment. Just to keep you living, I worship Lord Narayan. By his merciful potency, I come to Vrindavan every day to enjoy pastimes with you. I then return to Dwarka Dham. Thus, you can always feel my presence there in Vrindavan. So here Lord is saying that I worship Narayan for what? So that every day I can come from Dwarka to Vrindavan to meet with you and to associate with you and to enjoy pastimes with you, and then I return to Vrindavan Dham. Just because we are inseparable. You cannot live without me and I cannot live without you. So just to make that possible, I worship Lord Narayan, and by his grace this is possible.
Mora bhagya mo vishaye tomara ye prema haya se prema parama prabhala lukana ama ane sangakara tomasane prakateha ani besatvara. Our loving affair is more powerful because of my good fortune in receiving Narayan's grace. This allows me to come there unseen by others. I hope that very soon I will be visible to everyone. So Krishna is telling that by Lord Narayan's grace, because I worship Narayan, so by his grace, every day I come there and I spend time with you, and because of his grace, others can't see me. And I hope that I'll be visible to everyone soon. So he is assuring that Srimati Radharani, you feel my presence day in and day out in Vrindavan, and that is real. I actually spend time there. I'm actually there by Narayan's grace.
And this is how we know that Krishna is never separated from Vrindavan. Yadavera vipaksha yata dushta kamsa paksha tahami kailu sabakshaya. आचे दुई चारी जना ता हमारी वृंदावना आईला मा आमी जानी निश्चया. I have already killed all the mischievous demons who are enemies of the Yadu dynasty, and I have also killed Kamsa and his allies. But there are 2 or 4 demons still living. I want to kill them, and after doing so, I shall very soon return to Vrindavan. Please know this for certain. I will return very, very soon. Se Shatrughna haite vraj jana rakhite rahi raje udasina hana. Ye bastri putra dhane kari rajya avarane yadu gane santosha lagiya.
I wish to protect the inhabitants of Vrindavan from the attack of my enemies. That is why I remain in my kingdom. Otherwise, I am indifferent to my royal position. Whatever wife, son, wealth I maintain in the kingdom are only for the satisfaction of the Yadus. So Krishna is telling that why am I here? I am here so that these enemies, my enemies, they should not go to Vrindavan. So basically, I am here just to deal with my enemies. Don't think that I am staying here and enjoying. So as we heard in one of the verses, the gopis, Srimati Radharani was telling that we don't like you in this vesh, in this desh, with these people. So Krishna is telling, I'm indifferent. I'm indifferent to my vesh, I'm indifferent to the desh, and I'm indifferent to my wives and son or the people also. That I just do because Yadus shall be satisfied. But my heart resides in Vrindavan. Whole day I spend in Vrindavan, and very soon after killing the balance enemies, I'll be back in Vrindavan.
तुम्हारा ये प्रेम गुणा करे आमा आकर्षण आनी बे आमा दिन दश बीशे पुनः आसी वृंदावने ब्रजवधु तोमासने विलसी बरजनी दिवसे. तुम्हारा ये प्रेम गुण करे आमा आकर्षण आनी बे आमा धन दश बीश. So Lord is saying your loving qualities always attract me to Vrindavan. Indeed, they will bring me back within 10 or 20 days. The next 10-20 days I will come. Then. And when I return, I shall enjoy both day and night with you and all the damsels of Vrajbhumi. So here Lord is promising that I will return very, very soon. You don't worry. Next 10-20 days, I'll finish my business and then I'll be back. एतताने कहि कृष्णा व्रजयाते सतृष्णा एक श्लोक पढ़ी सुनाईला. से श्लोक सुनी राधा खांडिला सकल बाधा कृष्ण प्राप्ते प्रीति हईला.
While speaking to Srimati Radharani, Krishna became very anxious to return to Vrindavan. He made her listen to a verse which banished all her difficulties and which assured her that she would again attain Krishna.
So how our anxiety for the Lord, for his association, for his service increases.
Lord's anxiety.
Yeah. So like that our anxiety will also increase. We hear, then we become anxious to perform devotional service 24/7. मयि भक्तिर्हि भूतानाम् अमृतत्वाय कल्पते दृष्ट्या यदासीन् मत्स्नेहो भवति नाम मदापनः. Lord Krishna said, devotional service unto me is the only way to attain me. मयि भक्तिर्हि भूतानाम् अमृतत्वाय कल्पते. My dear gopis, whatever love and affection you have attained for me by good fortune is the only reason for me returning to you. So this is a very, very significant verse which Krishna is quoting here to Srimati Radharani. He's saying that actually to attain me there is no other process. Karma Yoga, Jnana, Ashtanga, nothing you cannot achieve me. Devotional service, my bhakti, That is the only way to attain me. Jnana can give liberation, Ashtanga Yoga can give liberation, but to closely, intimately associate with Lord in the rasas, in the higher rasas, that is possible only by devotional service. And Krishna is saying, the only reason why I come back to you is because the great love and affection you have for me. That is what is so attractive to me, that I come under your control.
हे सब अर्थ प्रभु स्वरूपे रसाने रात्रि दिने घरे वसी करे आस्वादने. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would sit in his room with Swarup Damodar and taste the topics of these verses day and night. So Mahaprabhu and Swarup Damodar, and this is what they would constantly discuss.
नित्य काल से ही भावे आविष्ट हाना श्लोक पढ़ी नाचे जगन्नाथ मुख चाना. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced completely absorbed in ecstatic emotion. While looking at the face of Lord Jagannath, he danced and recited these verses. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is completely absorbed in ecstatic emotions, transcendental emotions, and he was looking at the face of Lord Jagannath, and he was dancing and he was reciting these most glorious verses. Swarupa Gosaira Bhagya Nayaya Varnana Prabhu Te Avishta Yanra Kaya Vakya Mana.
No one can describe the good fortune of Swarup Damodar Goswami, for he is always absorbed in the service of the Lord with his body, his mind, and his words. So who can estimate the good fortune of Swarup Damodar Goswami, who's constant companion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Swarupera Indriya Prabhu Nijindriya Gana Avishtana Kare Gana Aswadana. The senses of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were identical with the senses of Sarupa. So this was the rarity of Swarup Damodar's service to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was such an intimate associate and servant of Lord Chaitanya that here it's mentioned that their senses were identical. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to become fully absorbed in tasting and singing of Swarup Damodar.
Bhavera aveshe kabho bhumi te vasiya tarjani te bhume likhe adomo kahana. In emotional ecstasy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would sometimes sit on the ground and looking down would write on the floor with his finger. So sometime he would be so ecstatic meditating on that verse, and he would sit on the ground, and on the ground also with his finger he would write such verses. Angulite kshata hobe jani damodara bhaya nija kare nivaraya prabhu kara.
Fearing that the Lord would injure his finger by writing in this way, Swarup Damodar checked him with his own hand.
Prabhura bhavanurupa swarupera gana yabe rasa taha kare murtimana. Swarup Damodar used to sing exactly according to the ecstatic emotion of the Lord. Whenever a particular mellow was being tasted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Swarup Damodar would personify it by singing. So whichever way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be thinking and would be talking about, so whatever he would be talking about, Swarup Damodar would start singing, personifying that particular thing which actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be thinking of.
Shri Jagannathera dekhe Shri Mukha Kamala Tahara Upara Sundar Nayana Yugala. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked upon the beautiful lotus-like face and eyes of Lord Jagannath.
Suryera kirane mukha kare jhalamala malya vastra divya alankara parimala. Lord Jagannath was garlanded, dressed with nice garments and adorned with beautiful ornaments. His face was glittering from the rays of sunshine, and the entire atmosphere was fragrant. Prabhura Hridaya Anand Sindhu Lila
Unmad jhanjhavata tat shane uthila. An ocean of transcendental bliss expanded in the heart of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the symptoms of madness immediately intensified like a hurricane. So, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the beautiful lotus-like face of Jagannath, the ocean of transcendental bliss, it is not just emotion, an ocean of that emotion expanded in his heart. And the symptoms became like madness, which intensified like a hurricane. Anandon made uthai bhavera taranga, nana bhava sainye upajila yuddharanga.
The madness of transcendental bliss created waves of various emotions. The emotions appeared like opposing soldiers staging a fight. So many emotions, it's creating such wave of emotion, such ocean of transcendental bliss, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is experiencing. Why? By looking at the beautiful form of Lord Jagannath.
Bhavodaya bhava shanti sandhi shabalya sanchari satvika sthai swabhava prabalya. There was an increase in all the natural emotional symptoms. Thus, there were awakening emotions, peacefulness, joint, mixed, transcendental, and prevalent emotions, and impetuses for emotion. Prabhura sharira yena shuddha hema chala bhava pushpa droma tahe pushpita sakala.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body appeared like a transcendental Himalayan mountain bearing ecstatic emotional flower trees, all of them blooming. Dekhite akarshaye sabara chitta mana prema vritya vrishte prabhu sinche sabarmana.
The sight of all these symptoms attracted everyone's mind and consciousness. Indeed, the Lord sprinkled everyone's mind with the nectar of transcendental love of Godhead. So very beautifully it is described by Krishnadas Kaviraj that Lord sprinkled the mind. All the devotees who were there, Lord sprinkled everyone's mind with the nectar of transcendental love of Godhead.
Jagannath sevak yata rajapatra gana yatrika lok nila chala vasiyata jana. He sprinkled the minds of the servants of Lord Jagannath, the government officers, the pilgrim visitors, the general populace, and all the residents of Jagannath Puri. So everybody was practically blessed by witnessing these transcendental ecstatic symptoms of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Prabhura nritya prema dekhi haya chamatkara Krishna prema ucha lila hridaye sabara. Upon seeing the dancing and ecstatic love of Sri Krishna Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone became astonished. In their hearts, they became infatuated with love of Krishna. So when they were observing the Lord, their minds were being sprinkled and they were being nourished by love of God. And they became all astonished. Prema nache gaya loka kare kolahala Prabhu nritya dekhi sabe anande vivala.
Everyone danced and chanted in ecstatic love, and a great noise resounded. Everyone was overwhelmed with transcendental bliss just to see the dancing of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Anye rakhi kaya Jagannath haladhara Prabhu nritya dekhi sukhe chalila mantara. Apart from the others, even Lord Jagannath and Lord Balram with great happiness began to move very slowly upon seeing the dancing of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Lord Jagannath, no one can move his Rath unless he so wills. And now here Jagannath and Balaram, they are watching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dance, and great happiness. the Rath is moving very slowly.
They are so absorbed and they want Mahaprabhu to dance more. So they are moving slowly.
Prabhu sukhe nritya ranga dekhe rath rakhi se kautuka ye dekhila se tara sakshi.
Lord Jagannath and Lord Balaram sometimes stop the car and happily observe Lord Chaitanya's dancing. Anyone who was able to see them stop and watch the dancing bore witness to their pastimes. So actually everybody practically who was presented there, they participated in this personal pastime of Jagannath and Baladev, because they were stopping, they were slowing down, they were moving, and then again they were stopping. And people could see, they could feel that how actually Jagannath is the controller of the Rath and it's gradually moving.
And Jagannath was controlling and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was controlling Jagannath.
Yeah. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Radharani.
Hey Mata Prabhu Nritya Karite Brahmite Vrata Brudre Rage Lagila Padite. When Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing and wandering this way, he fell down in front of Maharaj Pratap Rudra.
संभ्रमे प्रताप रुद्रा प्रभु के धरिला ताहा के देखिते प्रभु बाह्य ज्ञान हइला. Maharaj Pratap Rudra picked the Lord up with great respect. But upon seeing the king, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to his external senses. So far he was in ecstasy. And here one king has touched him. And Mahaprabhu instantly came out.
Raja dekhi Mahaprabhu kare na dhikkara Chichi vishaira sparsha hoila amara. After seeing the king, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu condemned himself, saying, "Oh, how pitiful it is! I have touched a person who is interested in mundane affairs." So after reading this verse, I was thinking that how can we ever touch the Lord? Or how the Lord would ever touch us, to touch the Lord, or the qualification is that a person should not be interested in mundane affairs. And this is only externally that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing his anger upon.
Anger? He's saying chi chi.
Yeah, the contempt and anger on the king, because the king is absorbed in material affairs, mundane, that is his life. So much wealth, so much power, he's enjoying, and he's into completely mundane affairs. Although in this particular case, this anger of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is only external, because we read previously and we saw previously that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's heart had already been won over by King Pratap Rudra, because he swept the floor, the road in front of Lord Jagannath. So that really pleased Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here is becoming upset with the king, but it is for some higher purpose. Aveshete Nityananda Nahaila Sadhane Kasheshwara Govindachi Anyasthane.
Not even Lord Nityanand Prabhu, Kasheshwar or Govinda took care of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he fell down. Nityananda was in great ecstasy and Kasheshwar and Govinda were elsewhere. So we have heard that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would visit Jagannath temple, these devotees would actually form like a human chain around him to protect Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in complete ecstasy, and he is in such an ecstasy that he is falling down. Nityananda is somewhere, and Kasheshwar and Govinda, his personal servant, is also missing. And who got the mercy? So that mercy was given to King Pratap Rudra.
So it is an arrangement of the Lord.
Yadyapi Rajara dekhi hadira sevana prasanna nache tanre mili bare mana.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had already been satisfied by the king's behavior, for the king had accepted the service of a sweeper for Lord Jagannath. Therefore, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually desired to see the king. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's heart had already been won over by the king for his most humble attitude in front of Lord of the universe by sweeping the street. And therefore Lord developed a desire to see the king. And therefore this
the whole
pastime
Leela is arranged. Tathapi apana gane karite savdhana baye kechu rosha basa kaila bhagavana. However, just to warn his personal associates, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, externally expressed feelings of anger. So Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he is telling us, he is making it very clear that we should not feel that still Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is angry and upset with the king. So he is mentioning here that this anger, this feeling of anger is external. And why is it so? He just wanted to warn his personal associates. So what is the warning? The warning is that all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should not intimately connect with those people who are non-devotees or who are Vishayi, who have lot of interest in material, mundane things. We should not intimately connect with them. So that is the one thing which Mahaprabhu wants to teach by how he is dealing with King Prataprudra.
प्रभुर वचने राजार माने हैला भया सार्वभौम कहे तुमी ना कर संशय. King Prataprudra became frightened when Lord Chaitanya showed external anger. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told the king, don't worry. So the importance of having a spiritual master in our life. So if we don't have spiritual master, there's so many things which we get confused about, and we do not know how to understand when things change in different ways. So here, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya helped relax the king. Don't worry, he's externally angry upon you. तुम्हारे ऊपर प्रभु सुप्रसन्न माना तोमा लक्ष्यकारी शिखाए ना निज गणा.
Toma lakshya kari shikhayena nijagana. So the Supreme Lord is using you as a medium to instruct his followers. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, immediately he is pacifying the king that don't worry. Actually, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so pleased with you, and he is so pleased that by pointing you, by taking your example, he is actually teaching his personal associates how to behave with mundane people. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we will stop here. It was such a blissful section. It was such a wonderful section where we could actually see inside the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu what is going on, what he is thinking, how he is feeling when he is seeing Jagannath. So we are so thankful to Srila Prabhupada for giving an access to Chaitanya Charitamrta so that we can read, recite and understand these most beautiful things which are going on between the two lords, between Lord Chaitanya and Lord Jagannath, that amazing thing we experienced. So we would like to know from you, what is it, that one thing which really was an aha moment for you? Like you really were taken aback, like wow. So looking forward to all your comments. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hare